Hello, good afternoon, team. Let's wait for one more minute so that if anyone else likes to join, then we can start. Let me know once my screen is visible.
It's visible, Anish.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's start. So our agenda of this meeting is to explore the dynamic data masking in SQL. So first, try to understand what is data masking. So data masking is a kind of a security feature that was introduced in SQL in around 2016. So the dynamic data masking limits the access of unauthorized user so that they can't access the sensitive data. So what is sensitive data? For example, let's consider you have a database. In that database, your card details are there, your other banking details are there, your phone number is present, your email IDs are present, your personal identification details like Aadhaar card, voter ID, PAN card. So this all data is a very sensitive data, and you don't want others to see this data unless and until they are required to see it. So this comes under sensitive data, and to hide this data from other users, we are using the data masking feature. So as an example, let's consider uh, you have it is a company which is running storing your it is a payment company which is storing your all the payment details, banking details, your personal identification details, and let's say that database is accessible to many people in the company, many other departments. So one of the department is a testing department. The testing department only can see the data which is generally available, and you don't want them to access your all the personal identification details. So what the database administrator can do, he can perform the data masking on respective columns. Like you have a bank CVV column which stores your bank CVV. So he can perform the masking on that bank CVV column, and whenever the tester will log in to his user ID, he will not be able to access the bank CVV data. He can only see the data that is masked. It can be masked in any way, like you can see multiple acts present there. You can see in the case of numeric, you can see zeros must be present there. Some of the time you can see null values will be present there. So in this way you can mask the data. So we will perform the data masking here today. So generally there are four types of data masking functions which are available to us. So the first one function is the default function. So what the default function can do, default function is a in general function. In this, you can mask the string data type to multiple x. Like you can mask that data with the x values. So whenever the tester will check, he can only see the x values. And in the case of numeric values, you can see zeros must be present. So here you can see if some of the values are present in integer like 6,000, 7,000, and when the data is masked, you can only see that the values are in zeros. The second function is the email masking function. In this email masking function, you can understand from the name itself that it masks your email details. So the email function shows only the first character of the email address and masks the rest of the email address with multiple X values. And then the third function is random masking function. In random masking function, you can mask the original value with any of the random values which you will pass while masking. And the fourth function is a custom function. Custom function is a user defined function. You can create your own function and pass the parameters in that. How do you want to mask that? So let's perform. So here I have created a sample table named employees. So here is the script. First, let's create a table. The table has been created. Now we will input some values into the table. So here I have taken the columns like employee ID, his first name, last name, date of birth, salary. email address, and the joining date. So now I am inserting some of the values, and now we can check. We have the table containing about 10 rows of data. So now let's start with how we can mask. So for masking, what we can do is, in the last session, we have seen how to create a database rule. So here also we will create a one rule so that we can create a test. So first we will create a login as usual in our master database. Create login, we can name it as mask tester with password, and you can give any of the password, let's say tester123. So this is our password. Make sure you make it in the master database. So we have created the login in the master database. Now we will create a user. So create user. You can name the user. I have named the user as name it is mask tester for login mask test. Now I will alter the rule. So let's say I will provide him only select permission, that is data reader permission. So db underscore data reader, and then you can add the member mask tester. So now run this command, and you can see the rule has been created and the user has been created for the data. Now before logging in with him, first we will create the masking function. So let's start with the first function, that is our default masking function. So what we can do is, here the command is alter table. Whichever table you want to provide the masking, you can provide the table name, details. Then you can create alter the column. So here I am altering the column name as, let's say, what we can provide here. So I'll mask him on the first name. So alter column EMP for first name, provide the details, whatever the column schema is there, and mask with. And under this, you can provide the function how you are masking. So here I am providing the default masking. So what I can do is provide default function, and then you can close this. After running this command, you can see the command is successfully created. Now let's test whether the data has been masked for our mask tester user. So let's log in for him. Tester, tester one. Here you can see it has been successfully logged in. Now we can create a new query and check if the data has been masked for him or not. Select star from, take our table name, that is employee details. Now let's execute. So here you can see in the output, the first name column has been masked with the multiple X value. So whatever the first name are present, all had been masked. So this is our default masking function. In this way, you can mask any other columns. So whenever the tester will log in, he will only see the data which you have allowed him to see, which you have masked, he will not be able to access that data. So in this way, you can perform masking. Now the second function is our email function. So here also you can start with email masking. You can write the same command, alter table, write the table name on which table you want to mask, write the column name which you want to provide. So here I am providing the employee underscore email column, which should be masked, and its data type also you need to mention. If you will not mention the data type, the command will give you an error. Now, under this, there is only a slight change, not much change. You can only here pass email in place of default value. So now this is masked with the email function. So whenever you run this command, and now you can go back to the tester, and now again you can run this command and see if you are able to get the data. Now you can see the employee column here. The employee column has been masked. Only the first letter is present and other values are masked with multiple X and dot com. So now this tester will not be able to see the masked values. So he will not be able to access the email values in this case. This is our second function. Now similarly, we can go back and try another masking function, that is random function. So for random function also, you can perform same operation, alter table, employee details. So then you can provide the column on which you want to perform random masking. So let's perform random masking on salary column. So we'll take salary column, provide its detail. It was integer and mask with, provide the function name, how you are masking. So we are here masking as random. We'll provide the random function, and under random, we can provide some values from the range we can provide, from which range we want that data to be get. So here I am providing the data from 1 to 9. So randomly it will fetch any data between 1 to 9 and put that value into that email column. So you will not be able to access the original data, and you can see the random values which I have passed. Now you can run this command. For successful run, you can go back and test for the tester login, then execute. Now you can see the employee salary column has been changed. Earlier, the salaries are between the range from 6,000, 7,000, 55,000, like this. Now you can go and check that the employee salary has been provided between the random values which I have passed. So I have passed the range from 1 to 9, and randomly it has chosen any values for any rows. So the data is masked in this way for the random function. No, now let's go to the another function, that is our custom function. So under custom function, we can perform partial masking. So let's check for custom masking, perform the same operation, alter table, provide the table name. In this way, you can perform the masking on any of the tables in the database. Since we have only one table, so we are performing here. If you have multiple tables and have multiple sensitive data, you can perform that operations on the desired table. Now, now let's see which column we can take. Try to mask this. You need to provide the data type of the column, mask with, and then provide the function name. So here our function is a partial function. And in this function, what we can do is we can provide a prefix and we can provide a suffix. So you will have a one value as a prefix and one value as a suffix, and between that, whole data will be masked with whatever values you provide. So let's check how we can do so. So I'm providing here a suffix and I'm providing here a prefix. I have provided three as suffix and prefix, and in between also I have to give something. So let's say I am provided multiple A's, and make sure you provide this in double quotation, otherwise you will face the syntax error. Then try to run this command. After successful completion, let's go and check. So yeah, you can see here the last name. Whatever here the last name is, the first three words, you can look at the third employee ID. The name is Johansson. So between you can see I have passed four A's. So that are masked as four A's, and the first three words are retrieved and the last three words are retrieved. That are the prefix values. I have passed three words as a prefix in my partial masking function and last three words as suffix. So it has fetched that word and between that data is masked. If I want to change that to any other column, any other word, let's say I can provide here X. So if it changes or not, completed. Now you can go and here see the words are replaced with X's. So here, whatever the prefix and suffix is provided, the middle data has been masked. In this way, you can provide the masking. So these are the simple data masking functions. Basically, there are four functions. Default function will automatically fetch accordingly, and for numeric values, it will fetch zero. So let's try with the numeric values, whatever we have. Let's take for salary. For default function, we can try with salary. We have seen for the string values. Now we can check for numeric column. Employee underscore salary, that is int, and mask with the function as default, then close this. Now let's check and go back to the tester. Now you can see the employee salary has been masked with zero. So by default, when you provide the default function, it will mask the numerical values with the zeros and the string values with the multiple X values. So in this way, we can provide the masking. We can mask our data in four ways. The basically, most importantly, the default masking is used for the simple columns. For email columns, you can mask with the email functioning. If you want to mask randomly, you can provide some random ranges in which range you want the data to be fetched so that the mask values are present there. And there is a custom function which is a user defined function provided. So you can provide a prefix, a suffix, and the padding between whatever you want to mask with. So this is the partial function. So these are the four types of data masking, and you can also try and implement that. It is a very useful feature when you will work on the larger projects, and there you can use this function. So any questions you can ask.
There is one data masking for credit card as well, right?
Credit card as well, you can provide their default also because it is a CVV. So it is a numeric value. Basically, for credit card numbers, you can provide default masking, and for CVV also you can provide default masking. So it will mask like XXX in case whatever the padding you will provide, it will mask with that.
So we can remove X with star as well.
Yeah, you can remove star with X with star as well, but here you can perform it only in the partial function. You can't do it in random or email. Random, you can provide some characters and replace it with them. But in default function, it will by default take the X values.
Anish, sir, I have one doubt.
Yes.
When we are using a random function here, so we are choosing values in between this range 1 to 9
Okay.
for the employee
Yes.
salary.
Yeah.
So when we use this, I want to ask when the random function has been implemented and the salary has
Mhm.
been marked, so how random
Yes.
it is? I mean, when we rerun the query of the select query, will the marks
Mhm.
values will get changed again and again, or or they are like assigned for a particular value has been assigned for a particular salary?
No, like since we have right now also seen that whenever I run the random function, let's do it practically. So I have now run the query, and here you can notice first employee salary has been ranged as 8. Now let's try to rerun this, and whenever you execute, it has been changed. So every time when you run the query, it will change the
It will
values
get changed.
randomly
Okay,
between the range.
okay, thank you. Also, can we do like this alteration we are doing in columns? Can we do
Yeah.
when we are making the our when we are creating our table? Can we add this marks with in that query as well in the create table query?
No, no, no. First, you need to provide a schema. Then it should
Then
have data. The masking can be performed. You can perform masking under stored procedure or something like that. But whenever you are creating a schema, you can't provide masking at that level.
okay,
After you have provided the schema, created the table, then only you can provide the masking.
okay, thank you.
Any other
Uh,
questions?
Anish, yeah. So what if you
Yeah.
want to undo all the masking? Like if you want to get the original data back?
For undo masking, we have the unmask function, and that
Right.
we can do like this. Now let's see. Grant unmask to the username, and what is my user? That was mask tester. So now if I perform this, and then I can go and check, you will be able to see all the data.
Right. Okay.
Also, one
So,
thing, if you, yes,
Anish, when you unmask the data for this
yes, ma'am,
user, so
yes, ma'am,
he was able to see all of the data, right? But if we
all of
want
the
to
data.
just unmask for one column or one or two columns, like not the whole data, but
No, ma'am, it can't be done because whenever you are creating a rule, if you will unmask, it will unmask all the data. And if you want to provide the masking to him, you need to provide him alternatively on the particular column. Then only he will be able to see only that masked column and other data as well. If you will grant the unmask condition to him, he can
hmm.
be able to see all the data.
Okay. Okay, Anish, thank you.
Thank you. Any other doubts?
Yeah, small one. Does this
Yeah,
work with views as well or just the tables?
it works with views as well.
Okay.
So, if we are good with doubts, then we can wrap up this session. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Anees.
Thank you, Anish.
Thank you, Anish.
Thank you, Anis.
Thank you, Anish.